All right, Dr. Z, on today's show, we are interviewing an MMA fighter. Sir, have you ever felt like you missed your calling and should have been an MMA fighter?
Those are fighting words. Let's go at it right now. Take off your headsets right now. Come on, stand up.
I'm being honest.
Stand up.
I can't
Take your glasses off. I can't hit a man with glasses
I
on.
can't even watch MMA
I'm
fights.
serious.
It freaks me out.
I'm serious.
I don't.
I'm coming at you.
Listen.
I'm coming in hot.
Now, on today's show, Joel Bauman shares with us about facing fear and why he's been forced to cancel his most recent fight after having a false positive COVID-19 case. Yet again, folks. He's living the quarantine dream because of the false positive test, and he's going to hop on today's show and share the truth that you need to know about the false positive tests. All this and more on today's edition of the Thrive Time Show on your radio and podcast download. Z, why are you throwing a haymaker?
I'm doing it. Here's a mule kick. Mule kick.
Get ready to enter the Thrive Time Show.
We started from the bottom, now we here. We started from the bottom and we'll show you how to get here. Started from the bottom, now we here. We started from the bottom, now we here.
We started from the bottom, now we're on the top. Teaching you the systems to get what we got. Colton Dixon's on the hooks, I break down the books. Z's bringing some wisdom and the good looks. As the father of five, that's why I'm alive. So if you see my wife and kids, please tell them hi. It's the C&Z up on your radio. And now 3, 2, 1, here we go.
We started from the bottom, now we here. We started from the bottom and we'll show you how to get
Yes, and yes. Thrive Nation, we are in the air everywhere. Paul Hood, you're always looking good, sir. How are you?
I am absolutely amazing, my friend. How are you?
Well, I'm excited to do today's show with you because we're going to be talking about what you're supposed to do when you're forced to quarantine when you're a pro athlete.
Oh, my.
And so, Joel, welcome on to the Thrive Time Show. How are you, sir?
Hey man, I'm doing good. I'm doing very good.
For the folks
Glad to
out
be
there,
on.
that are not familiar with you and your background, can you tell everybody your first and last name and what you do for a living?
My name is Joel Bauman. I go by King Bao as an artist. I do music professionally. I also fight professionally, and this is what I do. This is who I am.
And tell the listeners out there, when was your most recent fight supposed to take place?
So I was scheduled to be on Bellator 243 in Connecticut. It was going to be, what was that? It was 2 weeks ago, I believe. I forget the date because I lost count of days while I was sitting in a hotel room for that stupid quarantine that I did not necessarily fully partake in. But it was about 2 weeks ago, and you have Bellator 243.
And what does it mean when you say 243? I'm for the folks out there that aren't familiar with the number system.
Yep. So every time, like the UFC or Bellator, these organizations have an event, they list them via number so that people can go back and watch them or keep track of who was on the card. So yeah, I was scheduled to be on the Bellator 243 card.
So walk us through this quarantine process and how long they made you stay in the hotel and where you were. Just walk us through all the details.
So Monday night, we get in Sunday. Monday morning, we have to we get to Mohegan Sun. Monday morning, we have to do these tests, the swab test, the nose test. And if you guys know the story, obviously I had tested negative twice in 2 weeks. And then ultimately, here's what happened. Sunday night, we get in. We're flying, obviously, from our respective fight camps and gyms. Monday morning, we have to take our nose swab test. So all fighters, all coaches, anybody working has to get their nose swab test. So we do that Monday morning, and Tuesday night at around 11:30, I get a call, and they say I have tested positive. And I obviously couldn't believe that if you know the story. We obviously tested negative twice before we came, pretty much for the past 2 weeks. So that just didn't necessarily make sense to me. Was told that I ultimately was moved at like 12:30 a.m. that morning to a different hotel because I had to pack all my things up. I was removed from that hotel and put in another hotel. Was told to quarantine there for 14 days. 10 days if I showed no symptoms. It was just a mess.
Do you have to stay in the room, or do you just have to stay in the hotel?
I mean, so they made it sound like, don't leave the hotel. But I'm not very good at listening to anybody. So, we did what we had to do.
And then when you got retested again, I believe, right, after this, and then you were found to be negative again?
Yes. Immediately when I got home, not immediately. I wanted to wait because I was told that if you test positive or if you're positive for COVID, that it may not show up right away. So I waited until Friday to get a blood draw test last Friday, which came back negative. So it's very interesting. I had 2 negative tests within 2 weeks before my fight. I get to my fight. They test me week of. All of a sudden it comes back positive, and then when I get back home, it's a negative test. So what I plan on doing, and what I was told, is that it can take up to 3 weeks to show. So after I come down and visit the Thrive Time show, I'm going to fly back, and I'm going to get another test this next weekend, which, again, should be 2 or 3 weeks past. And if that comes back negative, well, ladies and gentlemen, everything's about to hit the fan.
Boom.
So you're telling me that you tested negative twice, saying you didn't have COVID, and then you got tested one more time before the fight, and they said you were positive, correct?
Yes.
And then you took another test, and now you're negative again. And the whole time you felt great? Have you felt great the whole
Say that
time?
one more time?
Have you felt great the whole time?
Yeah, absolutely, man. I know my health. I've been a international trainer for a health company for 6+ years. I know my body. I know how I'm feeling at all times. That's a part of I believe being a high level athlete is knowing that. So yeah, I felt incredible the entire time.
Now Paul Hood has a question for you in just a moment. He's an accountant, a CPA. He's a logical person. But before I let Paul ask you some questions here, I want to cue up an audio clip. Give me just 1 second to find the clip here. This clip is from Senator and Dr. Rand Paul. Paul, I have 2 clips here, okay? Mm-hmm. Clip number 1, this is going to be from the White House, the newest member of the coronavirus advisory team. This is Dr. Scott Atlas from Stanford. He's a medical doctor, and I'm going to play for you this audio clip, Paul. And Paul, you try to explain to me what this audio means. It's kind of like an audio quiz show. Here we go. I'm queuing it up, Paul. Here we go. It's going to happen.
We have a man with us who's a great expert.
This is President Trump introducing him.
From Stanford. He's working with us. He's consulting with us. And he's going to be at our press conference in a little while at 5:30. But maybe Dr. Scott Atlas could say just a couple of words. And we're going to be covering it in more detail in a little while. And you folks are, if you're interested in watching, we'd love to have you. Scott, please.
Okay, thank you, Mr. President. It's a great honor to be asked to help out in any way I can, and the event I thought was terrific. I want to thank everyone for participating, and sort of to reiterate the bottom line on this, as the President and Vice President and Secretary DeVos have said, which is we know that the risk of the disease is extremely low for children, even less than that of seasonal flu.
Paul, what did he just say?
He just said, get the dang kids back to class, is what he said.
Did he just say that the coronavirus, COVID-19,
COVID,
is less dangerous than the common flu for kids?
He did.
Now let's go to Senator Dr. Rand Paul. This is a man who actually had coronavirus. He had COVID-19.
Yeah.
He's doing an interview talking about his experience with COVID-19 on the Phil Valentine talk radio show. Let me cue up the audio. Here we go. Hit and play. Feeling the flow.
I mean, a lot of, used to be there were no doctors in Congress, and now we've got several. And you had coronavirus early on, too, and you've gotten part of your lung removed, my understanding is, from that attack from your neighbor. How did the coronavirus affect you? I mean, was it tough on you?
I was like the vast majority of people who get this. The vast majority of people that get this are asymptomatic or mildly symptomatic. And, they make fun of the president for saying that most people get well from this. It is true. The vast majority, if you look at under age 18, the mortality rate's about 1 in a million. You look at age 18 to 45, the mortality rate's about...
Did he just say 18 and below, the death rate is 1 out of a million?
1 out of a million. I think that equates to getting bit by a shark and struck with lightning at the same time.
Joel, how old are you?
I am 29.
Okay. Let me hit play here. Let me hit play. This pertains to Joel now. I'm hitting play. Here we go.
18 to 45, the mortality rate's about 10 in 100,000.
10 in 100,000, Joel. That's the risk. That's the risk level there. Here we go.
I
Above
can
that,
tell
it
you right now, it
increases.
ain't going to be me.
All right, here we go.
But interestingly, it is still pretty small, and the vast majority, even people up to 65 years of age, it may well be between 95 and 99% have a very mild case of this.
Okay, so I just want to know, Paul, you're a smart guy. If we know that less than 1 out of a million kids who get the virus die, and 10 out of 100,000 people between ages, 18 and 45 die, why do we have to make an MMA championship fighter, why do we have to keep him from making a living and keep him quarantined in a hotel to hide from a virus that's less dangerous by most estimates than the common flu?
Well, the reason is because the people making those decisions would never step in that ring in the first place. It's a fear-based driven thing that, I think that I'm 53 years old, Joel, and I still think I'm pretty much of a badass in my mind. I know I could step in there and get my butt whooped, but I would step in there. And the people that are making these decisions are using fear to control people. And whatever you want to call, I don't really believe in conspiracy theories, but the reality is they found a way to control everything from the media to politics to economics through fear. And that is not freedom, Clay. I don't know about you, but the friends I have that were Marines and all this kind of stuff that strapped on and went and fought for our rights, they didn't fight for our rights for us to sit back and live our life through fear. Freedom is scary and it can be dangerous, but you know what? That's our deal. That's our God-given right, Clay.
Joel, were you irritated that you were forced to quarantine?
Well, hear me out. He's exactly right. You hit it on the nail when you said it's about fear. I study the subconscious mind. I'm big into hypnosis. I did sales at a high level for a very, very long time, and it's very easy to see when people are being controlled and manipulated. So I wear an inappropriate mask. You can go check it out on my Facebook, to kind of stake my claim as to what it is I believe about this virus. It's all fear. It's literally so. I've never lived my life in fear. I don't believe in that. So it's more frustrating that more people are believing in the lie than myself having to quarantine, because I believe I'm above it. I believe I'm above the lies. I see what it is. I know what it is. So ultimately, the only frustrating thing is that not everyone is awake to the same reality.
Well, I agree, Joel. And I do have a quick question real quick, Clay. And my question is Joel, you doing what you do, would you rather take a punch to the face by Mike Tyson or have that swab shoved up into your brain again? My gosh, everybody I hear, that's like horrific. And you've had to do it 4 times.
My biggest thing, you talked about conspiracy. Here's my thing about conspiracy theories. For something to be labeled a conspiracy, there has to be some truth in it, right? Nobody wanted to believe in false flags until that actually came out as a tactic for the military, that was a real thing.
Right.
So when people talk about these COVID swabs and all of that, I don't like it because I don't know if it has the virus on it.
Exactly.
What did you just say? You just said. What did you
ahead.
just say? You just said about tell me about the military thing. I want to make sure all the listeners get that. What did you just say?
I mean, again, for a conspiracy theory to be a conspiracy theory, like for their conspiracy to be anything, there has to be some truth in it. Otherwise, it's not conspiracy. So you have to think, that nobody wanted to believe in false flags. Well, then it comes out that false flags are actually a tactic for high places in our military.
What is a false flag? What is a false flag? What does that mean?
A false flag. I mean, a false flag in terms of just it is. I don't want to go too crazy.
No, but I want to make sure people all know what you're talking about. I'm not here to say I'm not here to question what you're saying. I just want to make sure the listeners know what you're referencing.
Yeah. So a false flag is pretty much a military tactics by any means necessary to get an objective done. So they're willing to hurt innocent people potentially, or stage events to accomplish a means by an end. So, whether that's bombing a place that has innocent people in it to get us to go to war with another country, whether it's there's so many different versions of false flags that, people have been aware of and talked about. So just go do your research.
Clay, I got one for you.
Sure.
My beautiful mom is one of the hardest working people I've ever met, and I owe all my success to my Heavenly Father, but also to her. She broke it. Listen, she's fighting breast cancer, or it's actually metastasized, and she got tested the last time she was in the hospital, which was like 2 weeks ago, and then she was negative. And then she called in. They called in a home health nurse, and the home health nurse literally said, well, we're coding you as positive for COVID. And she said,
Right.
no, I had the test. It's negative. No, right here in your chart, we're coding you as
We're coding
positive.
you. We're going to code you.
We're going to code you as positive.
I'm going to code you right now. Am I muting you? I'm a terrible person.
Well, that's why you haven't heard me. I'm
gonna,
yelling and screaming.
See, I'm going to code you and say
Code.
you have COVID. Now,
Code
okay,
you COVID.
So I want to just introduce the listeners. So Joel here again, MMA fighter. You make your money by fighting, correct?
Yeah, I do a couple different businesses. Fighting, I believe, is one of them. But yes, fighting is a way that I make income.
And you want to fight. You don't feel sick at all. You took the COVID tests. It showed you were negative twice. And then all of a sudden, you didn't even feel bad. Now you're positive. Now you can't fight. Then you take another test, and now they show that you're negative again. This guy's taken 4 tests, and he's gone from feeling good but being not positive. Now feeling good and being positive for COVID. Now he's feeling good, but he's not positive. Now you're taking one more test. Is that right, Joel?
Yep, I'm taking one more because they said at 3 weeks, that's when it shows up. So if this test doesn't show the antigen or the antibody, we're solid. I mean, there's no other proof that this is a sham or that this is a hoax or that these tests are crazy. So it's about to go down.
Well, I had some friends that actually got in line to go get tested. They filled out their paperwork, and they got an emergency call and couldn't get tested. A week later, they got a letter in the mail that said, guess what? You're positive for COVID. Please report to the COVID detention center, where we'll have to have you in lockdown for another 2 to 3 weeks. Thank you very much.
Unbelievable.
And we want to know everybody you've talked to.
Oh, yeah.
Or
We're going
been
to
around.
trace them. We're going to trace them.
trace
We're going to find them. We're going to find those
There-
rascals.
You can't hide from us.
No,
See?
no,
You're not
Now,
hiding.
since
Door to
we're-
door, baby.
Since the show is already weird, I'd like to, if I can, Joel, I'd like to bring up the word Epstein. You tell me what you think about Jeffrey Epstein. I want to. Might as well. Come on.
Oh, man, we're going off the deep end.
No, Joel,
I love your clip, man. I shared your clip on TV because I had been talking about, Bill Gates and Jeffrey Epstein, hanging out together. And it's very interesting. I've been covering the Illuminati card game that was made from 1990 to 1995. And did you know that Bill Gates is in the game, and he has a card in the game called Xanadu? Xanadu is Bill Gates' private estate. And when you read the card, it has a very, very similar feel to Epstein Island. So, yeah, definitely go check that out. But, no, they're all pedophiles.
That just gave me the creeps.
We're about to take down the elite, and they're running and hiding, and that's what all this COVID crap is about anyways.
Hey, Joel, speaking about taking down people, can you give me a sidebar here, real quick sidebar? If you're a fighter as you are, I need a tip. Clay has a very large head.
Huge melon.
And so is there a move specifically to attack a guy with a large head?
Big cranium.
They call it the thunk move. They just thunk him on the head and it goes over.
Is that a move?
It's a move.
Know
Just
that.
thunk move.
Oh, okay.
I would say just get them emotional. Anybody that has a logical brain hates emotion. So it sounds like he has a break brain because he thinks logically, and if we get him emotional, maybe he'll be
So we go in the cage. All I gotta do is just talk him off. All I gotta do is just
keep talking. My Heart Will Go On by Celine Dion while we're in the cage. It's just
you'll just curl up and you'll tap out.
Hey Z, I think Joel said he was coming to a Thrive meeting. I wonder how much it would cost us to get him in a ring with Clay.
Oh wow,
probably not much.
Real quick, this
I would pay for that.
Joel is coming to the press conference tomorrow.
Oh,
No way.
He's Joel. You're going to be here right tomorrow, right?
Yep. I'll be there. I'll be there tonight. Actually, we're flying out at 5. We land at 9:30, and I will be at the event tomorrow at 9.
Oh, that's exciting.
Isn't that great?
Yeah, can we set up a little mini cage and just have
Well, let me tell you
challengers come up to you?
Let me tell you about the All-Star
I'm in.
team we have for the press conference tomorrow. We've got Dr. Jim Meehan, MD.
Oh, yeah.
We've got Dr. Robert Zellner, optometrist. We've got Joel, the MMA fighter here. We've got Aaron Antis with Shaw Holmes there. We've got to the attorney James. We have just so many people that are there. And see, all of us have witnessed the same jackassery, and because all of us are logical people that don't make emotional decisions, all of us have pretty much thought that the COVID-19 stuff was crap from the very beginning. It's like we're on our own island almost. Like none of us have been afraid of it at all.
Logical Island.
I know.
Let's make that into a show.
It was funny. I was talking to a president of a university on the drive over here, and I was excited that they're having in class, teaching kicked off. Today was the first day of classes, and we were talking about it. I was cheering him on. Really sad that sports, the whole NCAA has almost made it impossible for sports to be carried on this fall. I mean, they put it's crazy. The jackassery. They want to play.
It's absolutely stupid.
But it was funny because I said I don't know. I mean, it sure feels like this whole COVID thing. What percentage of it do you think is political? And of course, then we talked about that a little bit. And he said, I wonder what this would have been like if it was an election year. And I said, probably like 2019 when we had the flu. I mean, like every year, maybe 2016 when we had the flu.
Unbelievable.
Maybe swine flu, H1N1, maybe that year. Maybe
Joel, do you have a fight coming up here soon? Do you have another fight that you're gonna that our listeners can be looking forward to?
Yeah, so I already got cleared because they needed 2 negative tests to clear me for COVID. So since I took this one, they sent it to the commission. The commission says I'm good to go. So Bellator, whenever their next event is, I told them book me for it. I know that they've been doing events every single month. So yeah, my goal is to be back within a month and a half, 2 months at max. That is my goal.
When you're in quarantine, can you work out in the hotel? Is there a workout center there? Do you? How does that work?
Yeah, you just work out in your hotel room. But at the Mohegan Sun, they had workout facilities that after you tested negative, you could go use, that everybody shared, and that's the only time you could leave your hotel room, really, is to go work out. But, yeah.
Hey, Joel, how'd you get the name King Ba?
King Ba.
So, yeah, King Bao stems from just my last name was Joel Bauman.
Right.
So
I see that.
It's Bauman. So it's always been a thing for me in my music to make music to make people feel like royalty, or to put people. Woodkid is one of my favorite artists, and Woodkid makes music to allow people to dream that they're in kingdoms and dream that they're in, that they're the hero to their own story.
That's great.
So I felt it was fitting that, I just make the name King Bao to kind of, satiate my ego in terms of creation, and also give people a platform to believe in themselves. That's where my production company, To the Crown Productions, comes in.
Are we shooting for Emperor Bao, or are we
Emperor.
King, or is King?
That's the top. And Joel, do you not feel bad about how other people who don't feel like a king might feel when they see that? I mean, we got to worry about what other people feel about.
Hey, if he did that, if you take just the first 2 letters of your last name, you could be King Ho.
I would love that. Is me. That used to be. That was my rap name when I was on the West Side. That was
instead of Hood, Hood.
I believe we're all royalty, and at the end of the day, if you don't believe in yourself, that is your
amen.
Hey, there you go. There you go.
You are where you are, and you need to. In my opinion, everybody needs to grow up. If we're all made out of the image of God, that means that we are of that being, that
we are
divine
royalty.
Being. So you're royalty. You're
amen, brother.
So if you're not believing in yourself, you're the problem.
Hey, Joel, I've got a couple final questions for you, and I know Ryan Wimpy with Tip Top Canine, he has a question for you as well, I'm sure. When you go into a fight, and if the fight starts, for those who aren't familiar with MMA, do they ring a bell? How does the fight start?
Yeah, the ref will just ask you guys if you're both ready, and then he'll tell you, to fight. So then you can touch gloves or whatever.
So before you start, you get close to each other, and the ref tells you the rules. Hey, you can do this, you can't do this, boom, boom, bang. What do you guys say to each other? Are you like, hey, Carl, good to see you. It is so good to see you. It is pleasant.
Carl.
I don't talk to my opponent.
Sup, Carl?
There's no talking.
There's no talking? You don't ever talk?
I can't. There's some people that do. Some people like to trash talk. Some people like that. But if I do that, then I become something that I don't necessarily want to become. You know, again, it's all about, for me, fighting is all about, it's a spiritual thing. It's mind, body, spirit. It's the ultimate form of competition. It's the ultimate form of chess. Literally, you are role-playing life and death. So for me, I look at it as I need to get in and out of here as successfully as possible. And that means, one, holding true of my mind, holding true of my spirit, but also holding true of my body, meaning not taking any damage. So I don't want to go to my ego and then thirst for blood. You know what I mean? I don't want to go to my ego and really want to hurt this guy. I just know I have to win the competition, which will make me perform anyway. So there's the balance of light and darkness for me.
What's your record so far? What's your professional fighting record?
My 3-1. My last fight I took on 2 weeks' notice, moved up a weight class, fought a guy who was 11-0 as a 3-0, and I was in control of the fight. Didn't necessarily take him serious. Got caught in a position that I should have never got caught in, and that fight ended in a loss. But that wasn't supposed to happen, shall we say?
He obviously cheated. There's no way he cheated.
How big are you? How tall are you?
I walk around at around 200 to 205. I can get very, very big. I just choose not to because my weight class is 185.
200 to 205. So, have you ever taken a hit and thought to yourself, "Whoa, I think I want to maybe not do this anymore"? I mean, have you ever had a hit where you go,
maybe he wants to be an accountant?
Whoa, like wow, like whoa.
I should have been an accountant.
You ever had a hit where you thought that, or do you even feel it in the moment?
You have to get hit in a fight. So that's a blessing, right? I've yet to take any damage in a fight. And as far as getting punched, I love getting punched. If somebody can connect with me clean, it means that they are of the same, that they can take it there. And what we look for as competitors, in my opinion, if you're a high-level, elite, actual alpha competitor, you look for someone to potentially be able to push you. Now, if you're dominant, then no one can push you, and you can just take control of the situation. Punch in the face only puts me there. So if you can even touch me, if you can punch me in the face, I like that. Sometimes I let people punch me in the face in practice just to help me wake up a little bit to go more.
Yeah.
Z, during tomorrow's
I did that
press
this
conference,
morning. I just
well, during Joey, I was talking to Z about this, and I said, Z, I've heard he likes taking punches.
Yeah, kind of wakes him up.
We won't do it now, but we were planning, Joel. We were like, when the attorney James is addressing the media and discussing the lawsuit we're filing against Tulsa's mayor for forcefully mandating masks, Z could sneak in a hit, sneak a little jab because he wouldn't see it coming because we're doing a press conference.
Yeah. I think that's a great idea.
Sucker punch.
So our plan was this, Joel, but we're not going to do it now. Ryan with Tip Top Canine, he trains dogs. Ryan, what's the craziest dog that you've ever trained?
I did it was an 85-pound pit bull. It's been recommended to be put down by 7 vets, and he was out of fighting dogs, and he wanted to literally tear dogs or people apart.
So Joel, we're not going to do it now, but what we were going to do, we were going to let Ryan bring that dog to the press conference.
Yeah.
And then Joe would look like, what in the world? He looks.
Yeah.
And then Z goes, psh, psh, while James is addressing the media, discussing the lawsuit. We had a big plan, but we're not going to do it.
Now,
I'm sorry to let you down.
When we found out he was over 200 pounds, that kind of blew it out. If he was 130 or something, maybe we would
all team up and maybe
not
do
for
it,
200.
We would all lose.
That's not happening.
So Ryan, what's your question for Joel, the MMA fighter?
Yeah, I just had a quick question. So, and you mentioned a little bit with like your mind, body, spirit, but going into all your fights, there's got to be some fight we go into and then you had something try to knock you off either that day or the day before. And how are you getting into that peak state that day or right then when there's like, family stuff or whatever else going on in your life? Because for you, mindset's like huge.
Absolutely. That's a great question. So I was just on Fight Book MMA. And I did an interview with them, and we talked a little bit about some of the things that were going on in my last fight that obviously were all signs that a loss was pretty much inevitable, just because things were not in the flow. I was not in the flow. I was way overconfident. I literally looked at this gentleman as not even worthy to be in the cage with me, which
Whoa.
is, again, the ego saying that. And this guy's 11-0. This guy has more fights than I have. I'm 3-0. I'm taking a fight against a 3-0. I'm going up a weight class. But even still, my ego was such that I had felt that I arrived, and also a whole bunch of crazy other things were going on behind the scenes. So talking about the balance, after that loss, it's only made me more aware and more balanced of everything. My ego, the third dimensional realm that I live in terms of cause and effect, the law of cause and effect, karma, just it's made me more aware and a better human being. So now moving forward, that's another reason why this fight falling through was so detrimental. It's a good thing because, again, we manifested now the opportunity to be able to go after these testing companies, which, again, I believe I'm here to be a vessel. However, I've been craving the opportunity to correct the past ever since that last loss. Hopefully that makes sense.
Are there a lot of other MMA fighters who've had to have their fights canceled too due to false positives? Are there a lot of other MMA fighters?
See, here's the thing. We don't know in terms of if they believed it was false positive or not. I feel like I'm the first person to come out and go, this is BS. This is and I feel like that because I feel I have to.
I love it.
If you know my story, I was the kid that got in trouble with the NCAA for making a song and putting it up on iTunes because I wanted to be an entrepreneur, and they own my name. So I got in trouble for that, and that went viral. I was on the Daily Show, I was in the New York Times. It's always been my thing to speak up against injustice. I feel like if you don't, you're not doing what you're supposed to be doing as a human. Like, what are we talking about?
What
I feel
sport?
like this is just a part of what I'm supposed to do.
Joe, what sport did you play in the NCAA?
I wrestled in college at the University of Minnesota. I was a Golden Gopher.
I thought, based on your sound of your voice and your physical appearance, I thought he would do curling. I thought you'd do the Winter Olympic sport.
Or
there,
table
curling.
tennis, one of those.
They probably did a lot of that up there in Minnesota. The Gophers.
Have you ever done curling before, Joel?
Hey man, I thought about it. There's a part of me that actually was like, what is the appeal? Because I'm a curious person. So once I start thinking about the appeal, I'm like, I bet you I could do that. I bet you I could be pretty good at that. And then I just said I can't even give myself the time to it because, I fight, and that's way more.
That's fair. That's fair. I will just say on behalf of all the listeners out there, everybody listening could be an Olympic curler.
Yeah, that's true.
If you've ever watched the sport.
Oh, yeah. Everybody's got a shot at the Olympics. That gave all of us guys hope. So, Joel, did you ever see the show 30 Rock?
No, I didn't. No, I haven't. I'm familiar with it, though.
Okay, well, Alec Baldwin plays a character named Jack Donaghy, and Jack Donaghy is just over the top, just a great character. But in one episode, he was telling someone, he says, listen, every time I meet someone, I judge them up on how I'd fight them. He's a good Irish boy, Irish lad who likes a scotch in the afternoons. Is part of that in your mind? I mean, are you kind of, can you turn it off? Or you like when you meet someone, you're kind of going, okay, I could take him. I'll leg sweep this guy right now.
It's always on.
It's always
on. Because hear me out. I used to train from the standpoint of I wanted to be a Green Beret. I wanted to be Delta Force.
Yeah.
So in the back of my mind, I wanted to be the elite of the elite, and I wanted to walk into any room knowing I could handle a situation. So it's a matter of, that's a part of the thing too. Is MMA is kind of corny to me because it's been hard to really get into the killer be killed mindset when I'm in a sport. So I still have yet to really go because I haven't allowed my mind to go to kill be killed. Because if it was a real fight, I would kick out your knee and I would stomp on your neck and it would take 3 seconds.
Hey, real quick. I have a question, and then Paul L. has the final question of the show here. There is ongoing violence with Antifa. These morons, these Marxist idiots there in Portland. You got these Marxist idiots in Seattle and Chicago. Could we just send you there? We could take a GoFundMe. See, you and I could put in a couple $100 a month. We get 1,000.
I'll go and carry a video camera.
We get mini thrivers. Could put in a couple $100 a month, and you just go there and open up a can.
Yeah.
Man, my dream was to be a mercenary. So you're
oh boy, Gophers for America.
That's right. Well, that kind of leads into my question because I've got a lot of friends that are Marines, and and I'm a CPA, so Marine CPA kind of go synonymous, right? Tough guys,
tough. Pencil pushing, tough.
So
tough.
So, you
Paper
know,
cuts, I mean,
me
it's tough.
and my brothers in arms, CPAs and Marines, kind of wish one of these little people
Antifa people?
would say something or start something. It's kind of like my wife wishes she could find she sees on Facebook somebody found a box of puppies. She says, "Why can't I find a box of puppies?" My question to Joel is do you ever wish, man, I wish somebody would just actually start something so I could I'm kind of that way. I don't know, maybe. I just want to know if I'm a freak.
Fired up.
Hear me out. Absolutely. I've never been in a fight outside of the cage because I always walked away from it because ultimately I know the law. I've always known the law of cause and effect and karma.
Right.
So my whole thing was I was always waiting for the fight of my life. I was always waiting for the moment. That's why when I started fighting mixed martial arts, now I'm getting paid. Now there's a reason. Now there's exposure. Now I can get the message out there. And what's the message I've always wanted to get out there? This. So all of this is me manifesting my reality, leading to fighting against the real fight, the pedophiles, the globalists, the New World Order. This is the fight I've been waiting for my entire life. So it's a good thing that I waited till now.
So is it too late? I'm 53. Can I get into MMA? Because I want to whoop somebody.
Hey, bare knuckle.
Let's do it, man.
Anybody.
And folks, if you're out there today and you want to learn more about the global reset, and I know you do, the globalists he's referencing and Jeffrey Epstein and all this craziness, just go to timetofreeamerica.com. That's timetofreeamerica.com. Or you can go to thrivetimeshow.com and click on the COVID chaos button. And Joel, I cannot wait to see you tomorrow, and I promise we will not give you what you want. Z will not be punching you tomorrow during the press conference.
Fair enough. I'll see you guys tomorrow.
All right, take care, boss.
Take care.
Bye.
All right, see ya.
And now, without any further ado, 3, 2, 1, boom!